pure? Is it more off of one pickoff, or do you think that Archives they still win in the macro sense?
I still think in the macro sense, I think Archives are doing it much, much better, right? At the end of the day, game number 2 was definitely going to be a draft difference more than anything else. Obviously, you need to start focusing on the execution of how you do it, but I think a lot of the macro movements and as well as decision-making by Archive Esports are honestly correct, and they are extremely efficient at getting and sorry, not getting into position, but posturing themselves for the play.
Yeah, you see the mood, the atmosphere also changed a little bit, right? Because Archives they are more zone in.
No, like we can't count these guys out anymore. We actually have to like use our fingers now.
Yeah. The kid isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Probably started crying after
They're like, guys, why?
Oh boy.
It was supposed to be a 2-0, not a 2-1.
Yeah, it was supposed to be well, it will be a 2-1. I just don't know who will get the 2, which is a dangerous spot for Archives to be in. The bans, would that change? Is Minotaur still a priority for Red?
I think that Minotaur is definitely a consideration if you're thinking about a team fight composition, right? Like Minotaur with his ultimate, I would argue that it's almost as good as the ult from what's his face again? I'm imagining his face, octopus, big guy, armor.
You say octopus, okay?
You know what? I messed up saying octopus there. I did mess up. What's his face? Atlas. Yes, that's the one.
That's octopus?
Look. It was more like Kraken squid sort of direction. It was the first thing when I saw tentacles. That was the first animal that came into mind. I definitely messed up there. I admit that. But yes, I will say that it almost feels like that table flip sort of moment when you get a really good Minoan Fury.
Yeah. Both games we haven't seen the Atlas. I presume it's because there's a Valentina on the other side.
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, like, especially if you're playing Farmus, right? You would hate to see an Atlas on the enemy team. As much as your temp HP protects you, getting pulled out of position and sucked into one tight ball is never a good idea. Man, I really hope that Red Esports stops banning out this Novaria.
Hey man, if they ban it on blue side, you know they will ban it on red side. That's the nature of drafting.
I suppose, but I think it's really hurting them. Like, it's really hurting them in the draft itself. I feel like Archives Esports have kind of like adjusted the way that they've approached the drafting because that Novaria has been made legal now.
Minotaur ban out again, so nothing out of the ordinary in terms of the bans. Arlott does get let through. The Archives, they'll ignore it. They'll go for the Frederick.
Yep, I mean, if this is anything, I mean, this is one of those situations where, like, Red Esports are adapting from game number 1. This is pretty much the exact same bans as well as first pick from Archive Esports. Red, I think the adaptation of banning out the Minotaur is interesting, but it does mean that Diggy loses a lot of its value.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Archives, they did pick the Diggy because Red went for Franco, right? They went for the Valentina and then the Franco in the second pick.
As well as, I mean, they
not much of an option.
Yeah, I mean,
at least for now.
They wanted to play for the early game, right? I mean, they had the Brody. They also made sure that they had the Lancelot on top of having the Julian. And Julian is not a very common pick to go into the mid lane, especially in high tier plays, because he just doesn't provide too much until he hits level 3.
Gets bullied out way too much.
He gets bullied out very often, in a matter of fact. Unless it's like you got a really strong support on your side, like Grok for an example. But even then, you're walking away from that lane with a bad trade.
Oh, Arla locked in, and that's blue for Archives. Farmus as well. So just do the common picks for both teams.
Look, whatever, dude. Like, if Red Esports really wanted Arlott, at least take the Farmus alongside with it. Like, you know that the Glued as well as Farmus are open. I'm not sure why they didn't take either or of the options. And ideally, when both Farmus and Glue is open, you prioritize the Farmus, because even if your opponent has Glue, you can at least have that direct counter.
What is going to Red go for? What is the consideration right now? We don't have an artillery to deal with the temp HP.
It's going to be the Melissa again.
Melissa, right? Like need some sort of long range damage, right? Stay away from Archives.
Yeah, you need some kind of strong AoE. You need to be able to shred down tanks. You need to be able to keep people away from you. Melissa kind of does all of those things in one. And plus, Archives Esports, they've already predetermined what their mid lane is, so they're not really worried about the artillery mages. And Red Esports just decide, you know what? I'm gonna go for the Marcus.
still 2 more picks, 2 more picks. It's not set in stone.
Well,
Hey, look,
I'm
Archives has been
boiling.
pending the Martyrs 2 games in a row.
I am boiling up here.
You know, like you go to a shop, right, and you want your favorite snacks, but it was out of stock for 2 weeks. You would buy it in a heartbeat when you see it the next day. Right? This is what it feels like for Red.
What? No, this is like going into a grocery store, seeing a kid open a pack of chips off the counter. That's what it feels like. It's like, what do I do? I see this happening in front of me. Are you gonna point it out to somebody? Where's the adult? Where's the parent in the room?
Oh, they get to talk about this after the series.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know what the
can't even-
conversation is gonna sound
honestly,
like.
I can't even say that they can flex it because they reviewed both the Arlo and the
That's
Valentina.
the thing. That's the thing. There's
You have a
no
point.
there's no way to kind of go around it, right? So I'm curious to see. Maybe I could be entirely wrong about this. Maybe the kid who opened out the bag of chips in the counter, the parents are the owner of the store for all we know. You know, that's what I'm hoping for.
You open it and there's like a free gift inside and got the rarest one.
it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? You open it up, golden ticket, baby.
So Lolita and Claude both banned out. Red Esports stage, I mean, they will have priority, right? And the Melissa's still on the table. I think that is still a good pick for Red Esports, right? Other than Melissa, what else? Beatrix?
I think Beatrix is probably the next best ban for the side of Red Esports. Unless, okay, let me just re-look at the composition. I mean, there is technically the possibility for Mincetar for the side of Archives if they really, really wanted to. They probably could still get the Lancelot and Joe Frederick into the EXP lane, just to sandbag the Arlet, which is probably their best bet for the side of Archives. Red Esports, they're going to go with the Beatrix ban.
Wonder if Red would now go for the carry instead, right? Kind of the next best marksman down the line. Is either that or Brody.
Yeah.
What else do they have?
It depends, right?
Like Moskov, Leslie, right? You want to shred through tanks? Maybe that could be an alternative.
That is going to be an alternative. We'll keep that pick in our back pockets because there's still, I mean, everybody else is basically going to be a much better pick for now. I think that Red Esports, if they wanted to go for that secondary, they probably need a bigger indication to throw that out. I think the safest would probably be the Melissa, but if you want to be able to provide more for the team, the carry is going to be the option. And as soon as the carry comes out, Archives, they respond. Brody, I'm on a lane bully and I want some artillery.
Now we get to see the role farmers, right? A hero that we kind of wrote off from that role because he is just so much easier to kill. In this composition, I think there's just so much application, especially to protect the Eve. As from this Arlo and the Martyrs, I was thinking, right, Red Esports, they have the Valentina, the Atlas may be an option to go in the roam role, and then you take the marksman. But I guess they will worry that if Archives takes a carry, they will be stuck with the Brody, and it wouldn't work for them.
Exactly. I think Red Esports Atlas is looking so good here.
But it has to be an Atlas, right?
So good. But no, it's going to be Franco. Joke's on you, buddy.
I mean, to be fair, the Franco and the carry was what won them game number 2.
Yep.
They want to put their faith in it again. But is this game trajectory, well, is the pacing going to be the same as game 2 where Archives Esports just speed up the game as much as they can?
Well, I mean, if it was going to be the picks that I mentioned earlier, probably it would have. But now that they have like these off-tempo players, especially when you have carry at 3 items, she's extremely dangerous. You never know when she's going to basically 100 to 0 you when you're checking a brush. She has so many auto attacks and the true damage is just unbelievably high. With the Franco, it's always about landing like an incredible hook. It doesn't matter at what time of which you do it, it can literally make or break your games.
We have seen that already yesterday and just now. Now we're going to head into game number 3 of this first best of 3 winners pool. Red Esports against Archives Esports. Both teams have something important to play for. For Red Esports, a bit of a pride on the line. I heard that the chatter in the broadcast has been very audible. The fans are watching attentively.
I mean, Malaysian fans are never really going to change at this point. Very, very young, and more importantly so, they're not the ones playing on the battlefield here.
They're going to play better, according to them.
Yeah, they can play better, and I would agree with that particular sentiment.
Studies show that commenters play better when they're not playing.
Commenters play better when they're not playing. I like that a lot. That's a nice way of putting it. Sumpah, just having the time of his life. This is such an easy lane for him.
You just can't run away from it, right? Once he locks onto you, that's a guarantee a hit, forcing the early recall. This wave thankfully doesn't get crashed into the turret, so Mel won't lose too much. Mao will also shot bottom to stabilize the lane a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if Mel really wanted to win this lane, he would have to take Inspire, right? And look for these level 1 trades early on and break a battle spell from Sumbak. But unfortunately, that's just not the case, right? He's playing for the team, and that's why he takes the Flicker, just to make sure he has that flexibility.
But we'll get a couple of taps on that turret shield. So extra go. It's like what a Brody always does. Spider Mouse also will be on that bottom side to facilitate it. And this does give them a lot of info where this Martis could be, right? And also make carves up a road for Kaizen to head towards. Lord JM is just gonna put himself for the deal with 3 members of Red.
Yeah, Lord JM starting to be really frustrating here, and Amal, he's taking a little bit too much damage. I mean, they know that the turtle is going to spawn in about 6 seconds or so, so they're trying to create some form of advantage, but Kim, he's not level 4 himself. He needs to absorb that wave because Aaron, pause is being called. Okay, there we go. Pause is coming out from Archive. It was starting to look a little weird, right? They weren't positioning themselves to get towards that turtle side just yet. Usually by now, like around the 7 seconds, around the 14 seconds, you can see them like rotate to posture for it.
Yeah. And also, I believe Mao was in a very weird position as he paused. So that I wonder if that could be a potential first blood. We'll let the teams sort it out. At the pause called by a Red Esports, a bit of a tech pause. Hope that gets sorted out very soon. With that being said, we are going to have a bit of time to kind of run through the state of the game, right? We talk about the compositions. What is Red Esports looking to accomplish?
Red Esports is looking to accomplish a team fight where they go in really quickly, get that first initial kill, back out, and then look to re-engage. If we're looking at Archive Esports, I think it's a lot more straightforward for them. However, it's not going to be easy, right? You're looking for an opportunity. You're trying to create an opportunity where Eve's real-world manipulation is going to do the maximum amount of damage. First blood will go into the hands of Archive.
Turtle goes over to them. It actually gets stolen by Red Esports as Amal was working on it. They will end up losing Aaron, or they might. The 10 HP is going to expire. Aaron forced the flicker away, and now re-engage from Amal, cutting right through the back. No low HP members for him to decimate just yet, but he's slowly carving through the health bars.
No.
Kaizen will be secured thanks to Mao, who comes back with the flicker, and Lord JM, isolated, swipe back with the final slash, and he is finally going to be taken out 2 for it.
Nicely done, coming in from Red Esports. And yes, thank you for correcting me there. Red Esports able to secure that turtle, mainly because unfortunately Kaizen didn't have his retribution at that point of time, because they were securing the kill onto Mal. You know, that first blood. Wow, that was very close. Woo, dangerous stuff. Dangerous iron hooks.
Oh yeah, almost predicting that also. But while that was happening, Sumbak is just having a free lane. All things considered, I believe, yeah, Mao gets a slight XP lead, also has a slight goal lead, while all of the fight was happening at the turtle pit. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't see any battle spells being broken, maybe except for Sumbak, but that's about it, right? So Red Esports go back to their own traditional methods, playing really slow here, just to see how Archive Esports wants to attack. Oh,
real manipulation is going to be there. Mao pull all the way back. Just easily sniped out by Lancy. Bottom side, Sumbak getting punished, losing a lot of that trade, and Mel gets control of the lane. Yeah, not what you want as Archives.
Definitely not what you want. And I think, Mel is trading out extremely good. Are they going to keep on? Okay, they're not going to keep on going. The light wheel's going to deter them. But I think, Mel, he's an extremely aggressive laner, right? He wants to win out this lane hard. He wants to be able to try and pull it back after the amount of abuse at level 1 as well as level 2 that Sumbak was applying on him.
Lord JM proxying the top wave. As Archives Esports, they will posture for the second turtle. You see Lord JM already rotating there. The Iron Hook shown. So Archives Esports not as worried. There is a flicker onto Mao. Double root from Lord JM. Spider Miles not getting the Shadow Stamping onto Mao actually. This Iron Hook should be back up in a little bit. Archives Esports bringing the turtle down low. Final slash use as well. RWM even committed as the turtle goes over to Archives. Amal losing a lot of their health, and Kaizen will stick on top of him with the help of Lord JM. They get the kill, but they do end up losing Sumbak on the side thanks to Mao.
All of that was happening. Sumbak ended up going down, and more importantly, Mel getting that kill, huge for him. Amal unfortunately has to bite the dust a little bit, but it does mean that they can't convert this. Kaizen will try and look for the lead back as Aaron gets pulled into the fight.
He is most likely dead. Archives finding a free kill with actually weird move from Aaron himself, right? Just probably didn't expect the crew to be in the brush.
I I don't think he was expecting to get engaged upon, right? They would have assumed that the rest of the reinforcements were going to pair buddy together and walk in to deny the space in EXP. But Archives Esports looking for these big punishments. That's the big difference with the Filipino region compared to the rest of the world, right? Their movements, as much as you want it to be. Orthodox Mal is dead again. Is he? No, he's not dead.
No Shadow Stampede, so he stays safe, thankfully.
Yeah, so as a region, Filipinos just naturally have some really good reaction times and very good split decision making. Overall, at least they understand what the procedures are going to be before they make those choices.
And Arlot, Aaron clearing out the top side again. This is going to be, as weird as it sounds, you have an Arlot into a glue. It should be a bit more interactive, but both are just clearing out the top wave thanks to the lack of that tier 1. Bottom side, Redis was looking for their own tier 1. Should be able to get it. Archives not in a position to contest this one. Amar will get a free camp also.
Yep, again, Archives, when they had the initiative, they had their convergence, and they managed to get an EXP lead for their jungler. Now they can kind of predict what Red Esports is looking to do, right? They know for a fact that Amal wants to kind of go back even, is looking for camps of his own, and that they're playing for the gold lane.
Just to clear up some confusion for our viewers, Aaron is actually Ren QT. I thought I was tripping because I said Aaron and I was like, wait, isn't that Ren? Yeah, so it's the same guy. So we'll call him Ren from now on, just to clear some confusion. Shadow Stampede putting Ren back. He's dead. That one goes over to Sumpak. Archives gets a turtle and a kill.
Sumpak now getting that Malefic Roar is going to super boost him, right? That's a big item power spike.
10 HP already expired. Massive damage for Mel, but not enough. Archives Esports, they'll keep their team alive, going for the dive on top lane. Amal desperately clearing out the wave, but won't be successful as Archives will get a free tier 2. Spider Mouse coming in with the help of Kazan taunting it up. There's the flicker, final slash. The follow-up needs to be there, but it's not quick enough. Iron Hook does come through for Mao, pulling Kazan back. He dashes away. RWM use Aaron, Ren straight to the back, and once more punished by Archives.
Oh, Archives, they played that so very well. They maintained their formation throughout the entirety of that fight. No access to the backline, allowing Sumpak to free hit for days. You just saw how quickly Ren QT melted under that sort of pressure.
And it was, and no, they even got a good final slash, right? And the follow-up just was not there. They got a hook afterwards, but it was on the beefiest target who just walks out of there. So Red Esports once more in the back, on the back foot. Not a particularly uncomfortable position for them. They've been in worse spots, but these structures will start to form just like Game 2. And Archives pushing the tempo.
Yep, I mean, Archive Esports, this is how they play. As soon as the mid-game starts coming in, and especially when they have a 4K lead. Oh,
in the pull onto the glue and instantly final slash onto tree, but mitigated by the call altar. There's just nothing much that can be done. Ren again vaporizes.
Can't do anything about that. This Brody, this is his moment right now. He's got the items. He's got that Malefic Roar. Power Spike is here. They want to get for more.
Spider-Man was almost getting a connection with Shadow Stampede Flicker, but it doesn't matter. They have the RWM. And they get a tier 1 alongside Mao.
Yep, and they're snowballing this out of control. That 5K lead might turn into a 9K lead if Archives Esports can make this Lord worthwhile. Ready Esports just too far behind to really contest. They're just forced to cover and clear their own jump rope.
Just like game number 2, Archives Esports have a very sizable lead. You can see that a 1K goal increase in terms of net worth. So 6K goal advantage, which will keep on building. Red Esports will lose this bottom tier 2. They are focusing on the top side, right? That's where the Lord is going to spawn. So Mel is looking to at least do some damage, but the bottom wave is pushing it too fast.
Yeah, it's pushing way too quick here. He managed to clear up that wave nicely, keeping that inhibitor alive, sacrificing the outer turret.
Oh, good prediction for Mao. That is what you want. Spider Mouse can't even get in range with the call altar thanks to Mao's flicker, so they will definitely defend this. Red Esports holding on.
Wow. And this is what I'm talking about. The Iron Hook is such a good ability. It's such an off-tempo play, and when you connect, instant impact, instant value is achieved.
One of the highest value abilities in the game.
Yeah.
Basic, very simple, very straightforward, not much really needed, but just so good. They final slash Kazan into the base. Oh boy, these guys, they studied geometry for sure. Kazan is gone. And Mel gets to dish out massive damage with the light wheel. Just Sumpa tracked down to the end of the world. Red Esports. Oh, they're doing it again.
Oh, they're doing it again. Mel, QT, good target prioritization. When he dashed, I definitely thought those the auto attacks that came out of him was probably going to go to the nearest target, but it directed itself right on top of Sumpa. So he did have that portrait lock on. Really nicely done coming in from Mel. This is why. Explosive player, but Red Esports looking to recover. They managed to get 2.5k back, but it doesn't put them back above waters just yet.
No, definitely not, but they kept the base pretty healthy. And look at the structures. Only the middle inhibitor is took a little bit more damage, but Red Esports, they are the high ground defense. We thought the Iron Hook was the only threat, but apparently Final Slash as well.
Yeah,
The angle management, we joke about it a lot. Now we get to see the application.
Yes, and remember that the Final Slash always goes from left to right, no matter where you are standing from, right? It's about that rotation. So as long as you are on the right side of the map, as you Final Slash, you're going to push your opponents closer towards your team. If you want to push them away from your team, you definitely have to be positioned on the left side. Oh, this could be bad.
Lord JM catching Amao. That is a target that you need to take down as fast as possible. They do it with minimal effort. Now RWM rooting 3 members. Mel is the target. Kaizen gunning for him, but Mel, he good spacing. Doesn't get pulled back by the Shadow Stampede. Archive still get the mid inhibitor, and it's 15 seconds until Lord.
Really good call coming in from Archives Esports. They decided to muscle in that mid inhibitor, and now this means that Red Esports is going to take a little bit longer and always have to maintain priority over the mid lane. If not, it's naturally going to push in to Archives' favor.
Jungler down, Archives easily goes on to the Lord. Red Esports, can he steal it again? Can Red do it once more with the R-Lot? No chance this time. Archives, they're just gonna flick the forward Spider Mouse. 2-man Shadow Stampede. Mel needs to get out as soon as he can. And Kim steals the call ulta, keeps his team alive, but they're all inside the real manipulation. Mel still keeping his spacing. Lord JM absolutely melted by the carry. Red Esports still has the marksman online. Amao in danger. He goes down, but they get the Bloody Hunt onto Kaizen, getting his immortality out of the way as Mao will flick the safety. Mel dashes over the wall, but gets caught up by Sumpa. This is an important kill for the Final Slash from Red. Saves his teammate, and they all get out 4 for Red.
Finally, we see the Final Slash coming in from Ren QT. The man saves it at the very end. Mel was taking up so much pressure and even got flickered on by the Brody. Surprisingly, didn't die thanks to the winds of nature. The torn apart memories wasn't able to get casted in time because of the follow-up from Aaron. So nicely played by Red Esports, but they probably need to reconsider how they played defensively with the Final Slash. Because we could have seen Aaron stop this entire engagement earlier when Archives was walking up through the mid lane.
Yeah, he was saving it for Mel. For sure. The spacing of this carry just impeccable.
Oh, Mel is really
he's tuning on a knife's edge. He was always like, you can't touch. Like you watch those movies and someone gets slashed and it just hits like their hair.
Yeah,
the ponytail gets cut off a bit, but not their flesh.
Literally the entire series of John Wick. Just
basically. No, not really. I mean, John Wick takes the beating. He just doesn't get injured.
He just doesn't. It's Keanu Reeves, man. I've
never
seen the man hurt.
You think Superman's the Man of Steel? Have you seen John Wick? Oh, this guy is the true Man of Steel.
The son of Ka-El comes down with sunglasses.
This Final Slash that didn't land. Aaron losing that ultimate. They didn't land the Iron Hook also. Archive Esports trying to brute force their way through this top inhibitor. Won't find it yet, but dealt massive damage to it.
What's up with Malaysian teams and completely whiffing Final Slashes?
Hey man, this is just the first one for him, okay? We saw 2 yesterday. That one was worse, okay? This one was forgivable.
Forgivable? All right.
They didn't lose the game because of that.
That's true. That's true. But it's getting very close here. Now, if we look back at the goal deficit, we've built it up for Archives to have that fat 5K. Now dwindling down to a 600 gold lead. Very minimal. And it just shows that Red Esports have kind of pulled this back from the brink.
The net worth at this point in time is not going to matter as much, right? Because they're both on an even state.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we look at the gold earned, right, MelQT was definitely way ahead of his teammates, and that's why we're seeing them just like playing bodyguard, just being fodder, just scream for him as much as they can.
This guy 4-0-4. It is very impressive that you have a losing lane, losing matchup, you win the matchup, and now you're 4-0-4.
I mean, a lot of that is just due to Mal, his presence alone. And it does feel like Mel is calling on to Mal and putting him on a leash. He's like, no, come back here, sit in my lane.
Lord down to less than 50% health, Red Esports. And what are they posturing for? They are waiting to see if they can get a cheeky catch. Are they not contesting this? It's concealed right now. Walk in. Lord JM spots the Franco. RWM used as well. They're gonna jump onto the Mao, forcing him to flicker. Mal, good spacing again. Keeping himself away from the rest of Archive and Red. And now Flicker, final slash. They're gonna jump right in the dash for Red QT. They will be pulled back by the Shell Stampede. Red ends up going down to Sumbak. And Amal, he'll be caught up as well. The brick wall of Archive Esports is just solid. Spider Mouse gets pulled in but has the immortality. They need to get to his second life, but it's just not possible. 3 members of Red fall.
Ah, the classic mistake. They're like, oh, Yeef doesn't have the RWM. Let's all funnel through this choke point, and instantly just the Void Blast getting multiple targets at the same time. Able, yeah, look at that. So much damage.
And Mal, you can't do it. Not on his own. Not this time. The first and final death of this game. And the death already Esports in the upper bracket.
Yeah.
Give him the ripple.
Give it the ripple. Give it to him. Give it to him.
I mean, Red Esports only has 2 guys doing this. Archives brought the whole squad.
They brought the whole squad. Well done. Well done to Archives Esports there. They did struggle a little bit in game number 2, but game number 3, they pull it back after they figured out and cracked the playstyle of Red Esports and adjusted accordingly. Very, very nicely done.
Where's the baby?
Where's the baby? The baby is
prepping for an interview.
They put a little suit and tie on him.
Honestly, if there's one thing, that, shout out to Ripple, if there's one thing that he has done for sure is that he brought this trend.